Friends, Peggy Hall here. I'm so glad that you are joining me on Living Swell, where we talk about ways to keep your head above the waves in these stormy seas of life. And what I endeavor to do is to add positive value to your life. Positive thinking is not enough. I've never claimed that it is, although I am a positive, cheerful, optimistic, and determined person by nature. But you do have to roll up your sleeves and take action in order to create the life that you desire. And I want to talk about deciding and determining what fits your future. My husband is one of those people that really does not live in the past, and I would consider myself a little bit more of a sentimental sort. Let me know in a comment below where you are on that, continuum of really facing the future or always looking in the rearview mirror. I've always been sentimental. I have feelings of nostalgia for times gone by. And when we look at how much our lives have changed in the last few years with all of the hogwash that we've been through, it can often, for many of us, be a time of great sadness, of sorrow, of trauma, of loss, where we look back and we say, oh gosh, I wish things were like they were 3 years ago or going on 4 years ago. But this is an opportunity to think about what it is that you really want to bring into your future, because life is lived forward. I lost many friends over the last few years, people that I thought I actually knew, or the way I should put it is people that I thought who actually knew me and my values and my principles and what I stood for, but many of them didn't even bother to have a discussion with me. They just canceled me out of their life. And some of them were very vile and hate-filled and angry and threatening, and they were operating out of fear. I have forgiven them. I don't hold any grudges, but they are not a part of my life any longer. I do hold out hope for some that there will be a reunion one day, and if not, that's okay too. I still have the years that we had previously. And there's a video that I really love called Redemption, where there has been a little glimmer, a little hope, a little sunshine coming in one of these relationships anyway. But in reality, those relationships had their time, and moving ahead, I want to think about who I want in my life going forward. So imagine that you're going on a trip and you are going to be packing. What is it that you want to take with you in your future? So when I think about that, I think about different categories. I think about who I want to be in my future, and I endeavor to be very clear about that. And the way that I answer that question and reflect on that question, I do it by journaling, and I will write out, who is it that I want to be? How do I want to be? What adjectives can I use to describe myself? What accomplishments would I like to achieve? What type of impact would I like to have on my family, on you, on the world? How would I like to grow? And these are not questions that have to be answered in one sitting. These are things that I contemplate, and it helps me create a plan as I am going forward in my life. I certainly don't want to be stuck in the old normal, and I certainly don't want the new normal. I want to live a life that is better than normal. So many of you have told me that you've moved, that you've changed jobs. Some of you have actually left relationships. You've found better relationships. Some of you are having relationship strains. And I do have several videos on this channel that you can look at in terms of having the hard discussions, how to deal with difficult people. And those are some tips that I have for you in terms of wanting to heal those broken relationships. But I want you to focus on yourself and the kind of life that you want to have. And when we talk about the who, also ask yourself, who is it that I want in my life? Who are the people that I want to be surrounded with? Personally, I want to attract and engage high quality people. I want to be among people that are intelligent, that get it, that have a sense of discernment, that also have a sense of let's say, wanting to have different kinds of experiences in life. They're not people that are stuck in a rut. They want to live, they want to learn, they want to be active and alive. That's who I want to be, and that's who I want to surround myself with. So when I think about this life that I'm creating, my future life, I often will ask myself things like, does this fit my future? And I will also ask myself about my thoughts and my opinions and my perspectives. Are these are these things what I want to carry with me in the future? Are these the types of ways that I want to think and be? And maybe I do, and maybe I want to change or improve on those perspectives or opinions. Do I want to learn more? How do I want to spend my time? And then as I'm actually living in my day-to-day life, I will ask myself, does this belong in my future? So we talked about the people, and there are some people that I think are not going to be a part of my future. And that's okay. They were a part of my past, and I had that relationship, and it still stands as it was. But I frankly do not see a future with certain individuals. I just don't. Our paths are so divergent, and that's okay. I can still have the fond memories of the previous years. I will do this in terms of my belongings. Are these things that I want to carry on in my future? I mentioned at the start of this broadcast that I am actually quite nostalgic and I'm quite sentimental. And even though I do like to live a life of relative simplicity, I like to be streamlined, there are some things that I've been carrying with me, and I think I might be ready to let them go because they may not have a place in my future. So I'm constantly asking myself this question: how does this fit my future, especially with clothing as well? I did a program called Mind Body Makeover, and that was exactly about a year ago when I launched that program. And I talked about how I changed my appearance from the early days of all of the hogwash, where I really did experience some PTSD in terms of the clothes that I was wearing, the way that I looked, my appearance, how I decorated my home. I really wanted to have a clean sweep and clear away some of those things that reminded me of all of the tyranny and the hostility and the oppression that we suffered through. So I intentionally changed my appearance. I changed my clothes. I changed my environment because those were things that I didn't want to carry those things into my future, where I am envisioning a life that is going to be more carefree, more freedom focused, more well, I need to fill in the blank with some of those, and that's why I'm doing my journaling. But basically, I want to shed a lot of that heaviness that I feel I was carrying over these last few years. So if you're interested in that Mind Body Makeover program, you actually can get it as a part of an entire, they call it a bundle. And I've contributed my program, and there are, oh my gosh, over 100 other programs, courses, online learnings, videos, handbooks, downloads, ebooks that you can invest in. And you don't pay me, but it goes to another group. It's $50. You get my program and you get all of these other programs. And I will have a link for you about that. And that way you can benefit not only from my teachings, but from others as well. It's called the Holistic Health Bundle. And I would love for you to benefit from that. If you have already taken my program, the Mind Body Makeover, you still can benefit from all of these other programs and courses that are a part of this holistic health bundle. I love learning, and that is something that I definitely want to take into my future. I got rid of a lot of books recently, and these books were of a time in my life when I was doing a lot of emotional healing, and I learned from them. I learned about parenting the inner child and dealing with difficult people and all of these things that I really like to talk about on this channel in terms of elevating your and my way of life, not only our physical selves, but mental, emotional, spiritual, intellectual, social, cultural. But at a certain point, I realized I don't want these books on my bookshelf. I don't want to talk about past traumas and things. I actually want to move on. You can see it, even those words got caught in my throat. I want to move on from that. And it sounds like my teddy bear wants me to move on from that as well. Let me know in a comment below what you want to take into your future life. How do you see your future life? What are you ready and willing to let go of? I have spoken before about my desire to simplify and declutter my life, to live even in a more streamlined manner, not just with my belongings, but with my outlook, with not being so heavy, but being more light, being lighthearted in my outlook, not taking things so personally. And in the work that I do of helping people stand up for their freedoms, that takes a toll. It really is heavy. I not only am dealing with my losses and my challenges and my growth and my life, but I have been helping thousands of others through their hardships as well. So I realize that I do want to shed some of the heaviness, and I will actually have a better impact on helping people find their future and determine what it is that will fit their future, what they want to leave behind, and what their future is going to look like. Thank you, everybody, for being on board. It is such an honor for me to have you as part of our Living Swell community. Remember, I always have my other videos over at The Healthy American, Peggy Hall, and I might just air this video over at The Healthy American also, because I think it's such an important message for everybody to hear. All right, see you soon, everybody, in an upcoming broadcast.